Hey everyone, welcome to the Untitled.jpg podcast where we talk about art, movies, and anything that comes to mind. If you remember, I had Nico Lowry in the beginning as my first episode, actually, and we got into his alter ego, Nicky Draven, and he's actually here now, and I wanted to learn more about his alter ego and just kind of see why he uses Nicky Draven and why it's part of his performance when it comes to art. So can you tell us more about that, man?
Well, first of all, it's a real pleasure to be here right now. There's been a lot of speaking and a lot of talking, a lot of thinking of how we would do this. At one point, we even thought about giving me, not Nico, me. It's my fucking time now. We thought about giving me a Halloween special, but I thought it was a little too campy. Nico also thought it was a little too campy at first, too. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to really kind of open up to everybody about why we choose to dress and look the way we do and approach art in the manner of borderline performance to just being authentic and how we really want to look like. And I'm just really excited to be here to have the opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, man. So when did this all start?
Man, Nicky Draven, I did not come into fruition until the summer of 2015-16 for Gallery 242 in Harlem. It was an idea that we had for a long time because I feel like every person has an inner voice, inner persona, character, identity that we don't really embrace. Growing up, we were really bullied for a long time, so after a while you're starting to slowly gravitate towards things that distract you from the mundane, the everyday life. And long story short, we'll get into it, but I was created due to years of escape and ideas and art, and I've been around for 8 years now, and it's evolving more and more every time I do it, every time I come out, every time we create it. And yeah, we're just stepping the game up more and more.
Why did you decide on Nicky Draven? What was the origin of that?
Man, so, I'm sure people who are listening are I'm not too sure, but those who have been bullied in elementary school, junior high, not looking for sympathy or anything. It's just the honest truth, right? Kids get bullied. I was a little fat. I was a little different. I was a little weird. Kids would call me retard, faggot, beat me up and shit, which is crazy. Think about it, as recent as 2005, kids still did shit like that. When you get bullied so much and then kind of get targeted for how different you are, after a while you kind of look for an escape. I found that in comic books and movies and TV, video games, but specifically comic books. All my favorite superheroes covered the faces, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America to an extent. I just felt like if I could be like them, nothing would be impossible, essentially. And as I got deeper into art and creating and diving more into these concepts in my head, I felt like I needed to become more in tune with my work, more intertwined with it, not just this is Nico Lowry and this is the art. Nico Lowry then became the art with the art. You know what I mean? That's where Nicky Draven really became molded. I want to say specifically, the idea started becoming molded as early as sophomore year of high school in 2011 to 2012 is when this idea of I really want to wear a mask, because one of my favorite idols and inspirations is Slipknot. They wear masks. Daft Punk, Kiss, they cover their faces, Misfits to an extent. And I was like, I really want to wear a mask. I really feel like I need to escape reality more than what I already am. And so as early as 2011 is when the ball started rolling on creating the identity that I am now.
How do you feel when you have the mask on?
Better. I know, as cheesy as it sounds, I do feel incredibly invincible. I feel like right now no one can stop me. No one's going to stop me,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a mask, to escape everything, but at the same time, it's also a mask that gives me this weird power of I can really create and do and say whatever the fuck I want and not feel any hesitation, not feel any worry, not feel this pressure of any sort of backlash in terms of people are going to bully me because I'm going to say, because right now I'm Nicky Draven, I have this face on, and you know, I just nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to really keep
Hmm.
me back from anything right now.
What was the initial reaction during your first gallery show?
It was definitely a mixture of shock and laughter because at this point, you know, the gallery was in June, for example. I started hyping him up in January. Like I knew after I graduated high school, I'm gonna pull the trigger on it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I feel so in tuned with this character who's still unnamed at the time. I was like, I have this idea. And I made this piece about a school shooting in Florida that happened back in 2015, 2016. And it was a girl, and it was a coffin, a 9-foot coffin split into sections where each section, right, was different ethnicity, nationality, religion, sexuality, right? And I feel like it was so important. I feel like I wanted to be a part of it more than what I already was. So I took my nickname, which is Nicky, right? People who may not know, my close friends and family call me Nick or Nicky. No one calls me Nico like that. And I took the last name of my favorite movie's main character, Eric Draven from The Crow. And I just kind of meshed them together and became Nicky Draven, you know? And when I got to the gallery, of all this excitement and hype, people were just shocked and laughing because they were like, they couldn't believe I actually did it, and they couldn't believe I was doing, you know what I mean? They couldn't
Yeah.
believe I showed up in a red blazer, this custom blazer with my logo on the back, a button down, a black bow tie. I made a crown out of like copper sheets. I had this whole skeletal face paint, and at the beginning, as reaction was laughing and shock, it quickly warmed up to a weird, like, people kind of respected it, like, oh shit, like, you know, you're really kind of owning it, and people weren't too off put, if that makes sense. I hope that came off a little clear.
Yeah, for sure.
People had to warm up to it, and when they did warm up to it, I think they realized it was more than just me playing dress up.
Right. So that initial like time that you did that kind of solidified the identity
Yeah.
into like other gallery shows.
Yes.
So what was the initial look for that? Because you, from my experience of like going to all your galleries, you're always changing it up. You're always having a different mask. You're having different like face paint and a different outfit. Like what makes the decision on that?
That's a great question. I feel like initially I was gonna stay with the same crown, face paint, and mask, almost like I was gonna be a cartoon, and our cartoons were the same thing every episode.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do that, but at the same time, like, I'm more than the cartoon. I'm like a real person. I'm still, as much of it's as an escape and an alter ego, I'm still a human, a
Mm-hmm.
real human, you know? So I felt like it was important for me to differentiate my outfits and look for every gallery. So every time I looked at it, I knew what show and what piece. And I made my look connected to the piece and the show in a way that no matter what, I and my work were always intertwined, no matter what.
Yeah. So I know that like like you started becoming Nicky Draven that first show, but usually, you know, you could do the whole outfit change and everything and wear the mask, but when did the actual alter ego come in? Because now you're changing how you're thinking, how you're speaking, how you're acting, all of this. Like when did that come into play?
So Nicky Draven started, what, 2015, 2016,
Yeah.
right? I was as excited as I was still very nervous and apprehensive. It was like, you know, it's a big jump to go from like looking regular, you know, casual at every gallery to one day showing up like this full facade, not responding to Nico, but responding to Nicky.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, my second show after that, there was some hype because a lot of people showed up to my show. A lot of people, because they said they heard I started dressing up like a fucking wackadoo. You know, someone told me that, so you look like a wackadoo, and I showed up regular me because I was too scared. As much as I use Nicky Draven as an escape, you know, at the same time, it's just an escape. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I still fear and have feelings like a regular human. I was scared that I would be rejected, like I was in high school, and not high school at all, elementary school, junior high, that people would shun me because it was too weird for them or too different, you know. And when I got there, ironically, it was nothing but, I mean, as sad as it was, but at the same time, it was reassuring. Everyone was very disappointed that I showed up as Nico and not
Yeah.
me. And that's when it really began to click that people were there to support me because I was taking this different path and doing this extra on top of being extra for my work, you know? And after that, that was the last time I ever was Nico Lowry for any show. And that was back in 2016.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like personality wise, I mean, you're like you said, you're not responding to Nico, you're responding to Nikki. But like, what? How do you change that? Like, how do you make that switch?
Once the face paint or the mask is on, it's free for all,
Yeah.
right? Every little thought that I normally can't think of, any little thing I want to say that I normally can't say just comes out. I don't want to say it's a filter without the filter, but it's a way for me to say and feel whatever I want without feeling this, you know, it acts more of a shield, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know some people should say you shouldn't shield yourself and this and that, but you know, it's hard when you deal with, you know, your own head getting in the way, you know, my mind, like mental health and stuff like that. When this is on, I kind of say and feel whatever I want. Like right now, I feel great. I feel amazing, you know? Sometimes it doesn't feel the case, but right now I feel great. I'm just excited to be wearing my mask. I feel protected. I feel like I could say anything I want and feel whatever I want. And, you know, I've definitely put my foot in my mouth quite a few times. I'm not going to lie. We all have.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. One time there's a show in Harlem at Untitled.jpg. I'm totally butchered it, I know. And I was told by the gallery owner about a week after the opening that he was getting a lot of complaints because I was, I guess, cursing or doing too much and there were children there. You know, so little moments like that that I've learned from, right? I've learned to adapt to making people uncomfortable, which is what I don't aim, it's something I don't aim to do, right? But making people understand this is still art, it's just performance, it's just a character. Does that make sense? You know, there was another moment. I'm trying to think. I did a speech at a school, and I slandered my current college before I got into FIT. I went to another one in Brooklyn. I'm not going to mention it. And there's people at the school I was making a speech. I thought that the school told me to slander my current college, right? And it just made them look really bad, but it wasn't my intention. I was just kind of saying that I wasn't happy at my current college while making a speech at another much better art college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a very good look. And you know, that was another moment. But these all happened years ago. So I mean, as much as I learned, I'm still learning to grow up and mature the character in a way that I could say and do whatever I want while also respecting and not making it too inappropriate, too uncomfortable for people.
Yeah. Trying to think here because I had a trying to see. Okay, so I like these are questions that I'm assuming other people have had before. It's like you're doing your Nicky Draven and all of this, and you're doing performance with your gallery shows, but you know, do you think at a certain age you're gonna stop because people like are gonna think like, why is this guy still playing dress up? You know,
That's a great question. That's a great question. I definitely do feel two things. I have two things, right? That there is going to be an expiration date, right? Because let's be honest. At one point, is it going to be that I'm a little too old for this shit, right? And two, if I continue freshening things up in a way that it's still Nicky Draven but still new, is that considered old? You know?
What do you mean?
Well, I started off with the face paint and the crown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I got rid of the crown because I wanted to switch up the character in terms of, you know, I wore the crown because I thought at the time I was better than everybody else, right? But I quickly, over time, realized that I'm no better than anybody else. I'm just like you guys, especially at the gallery scenes. Like, I'm just as much of an artist trying to make it as everybody else. So why am I to put myself at this better, higher hierarchy, essentially, right? So then I took the crown out. So I switched up the face paint a little bit because the skull paint was becoming a little, you know, kitsch, a little too campy.
Mm-hmm.
So then I switched it to a more angry look based on how I felt at the time, right? So it's looked like a skeletal, but it was a little more artistic, more abstract. Now, moving forward, I plan to wear this mask. I plan to create a variation of this mask moving forward to the point where it's going to be all white. It's going to be incredibly neutral, but it's still Nicky Draven. You know what I mean? So it's still in the same spirit, but it's just enough to know that this is evolving. It's maturing. It's different. And I want to be like bands, right? Who had a specific niche, a specific gimmick, right? Who are still relevant because they freshen things up. We all know those bands that kind of fell off because they never did any risks or changed up their sound to do anything different. And that's the reason why we don't talk about them, but we talk about the other bands who tried things, they experimented.
Yeah,
And
they grow
even
with
if
the times.
Exactly. And if they didn't do it as well, they're still respected and appreciated for trying. And most of the time, those bands learn from those cases. And they come up with something, a better follow-up record or performance that reflects what they started with and what they're learning and growing from. And that's how I'm trying to look at Nicky Draven. The moment I stop learning and growing is when I probably pull the plug on the whole thing. I don't know about starting a new persona, right? But Nico and I are pretty intertwined. At least I almost say it. Let's slip up there.
Yeah.
I'm still human, so I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. I mean, at one point I had a whole wife, right? Lady Draven, Miss Draven. And I also had 8 children, the COD, the children of Draven. And I felt at the time it was a perfect narrative, right? I had this wife, husband and wife have children. Husband and wife don't work out. The children grow up and go off and do their own thing, right? Where does that leave the dad to do? Continue learning and growing and going. And that's where I am now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you not have like an actual expiration date for it?
Not yet.
Do you imagine doing this well into your 30s, well into your 40s?
To an extent.
Really?
To an extent. I even thought about doing shows that is exclusively Nicky Draven and or Nico Lowry. So I'll switch it up here and there, right?
So what would that change in the gallery scene then?
What would it change?
Yeah, like what do they have different art styles? What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm definitely more angry, more emotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
He likes to be a little more, grounded, floored down. Right now we're kind of working together to become more even, right? Kind of be on the same wavelength, right? I create the base of all these crazy colors and expression, right? Boxing gloves, screaming, moving around, jumping. I love to put the canvases on the floor and jumping all around the brush and throwing and stepping on them, right? Once it dries, he'll go in with black, bold line work, go on top, create an image, right? Something simple, something minimal in a way that they complement each other. The colors in the back will create the black on top to pop out, while the black on top that pops out is even because we get to understand and look at the colors in the background. It's a work in progress. We're definitely figuring things out, but I think it's important for any artist in general to not get too comfortable. Hell, I can name at least 5 on the top of my head right now, which I won't. But people need to take more risks, and I feel like it's important that we don't pigeonhole ourselves and stay in the same style for too long, because then it gets boring and old. And while everyone else is moving ahead of you, you're still in the back figuring your shit out.
Yeah, I mean, with any successful artist, they're really just always going to explore something new. You never want to stay doing the same thing you were doing when you got out of college, because, I mean, styles get old. People, in illustration, people use the same styles.
Oh,
like there's a whole editorial style going on right now that, might not survive in the next decade or so,
At least you're self-aware.
Yeah, so
there's no disrespect towards illustrators. I'm very outspoken about this with other styles and artists, and as well as abstract, which is what I do. I feel like illustrators, they just look the same.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of artist you are. Yeah,
have their own little thing that makes it like I could tell who that is. Yeah. But if you put 5 of them next to each other, they all look like the same artist. And but you could say the same argument about abstract expression.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get into now. It's just with abstract art, it's like so hard to even tell who did it, because it's all pretty similar. I mean, unless you got someone like Jackson Pollock who was known for that, but then any one of us could go and splatter paint and put that next to each other and see and give it to the general public and see if they can tell the difference. You know, like
Yeah.
unless you're not savvy on what artists are doing, you're not gonna understand who did what.
People tell me all the time, "Oh, so you just," when I tell them, explain to them, I'm a performance artist who specializes in abstract expression.
Yeah.
Right away. "Oh, so you just splash paint on the canvas?"
Right.
I'm tired of that. I understand, but I'm tired of it.
So
It's like, you know,
what makes yours different that could change if like that you could put it next to someone else's abstract art and be like, oh, this is mine.
man, I hope it doesn't come off in a weird way, right? Because I've definitely got mixed reactions to this, but I don't look up to really any real abstract artists.
I mean, it's kind of hard.
It's
no?
incredibly hard not to, but I get so much inspiration from like street art. You know, I love Banksy, but then I appreciate Basquiat because his
Right.
is different. It's abstract, but it's different enough that you're able to understand why it's different. You're able to understand why Banksy's different, you know? Tim Burton, Van Gogh. Tim Burton, illustrator, right? But he's different enough to understand that we know that's Tim Burton, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has his own personal style.
Exactly. Van Gogh, the strokes, the way he does things, it's abstract, but we're still able to understand that it's Van Gogh. I look up to people with really specific styles who are mainly not abstract, besides Basquiat and Van Gogh to an extent.
Yeah.
But I really love looking at Renaissance paintings as well. No specific artists, right? But you go to the Metropolitan Museum art, I am infatuated with the Renaissance work. It's like almost like, you know, back then they painted humans so surreal. If you look at them, the eyes look like fish. The face, everything is so unproportional, but we understand it's a human face. But I love that. You know what I mean? So I really don't look at abstract work too much. And I've gotten a lot of shit about it. I remember in college, professors would get so mad at me and say, you have all these resources. Why are you being so stubborn? And I wanted to just explain to them that I don't want to accidentally, unintentionally, you know how sometimes you could like just paint work and say this is unintentionally is very similar to another artist or person. I wanted to avoid that. Why do that when I could?
Yeah, but you could also, I mean, that's the whole thing with learning from different artists. I mean, you can not take, but like learn from all their styles, but then, you know, there's obviously a point where you feel like you're copying them, but you get through that to then start making your own.
You're right.
So that's probably what they're talking about when you're being stubborn. It's just learn to appreciate what they're doing and actually see their techniques.
Yeah.
And practice it just so you know, understand how they did it. So then from that, you learn how to make it your own.
Right. Yeah. You know, I'm only 26 and that was like 4 years ago, which is so crazy, you know, but I totally understand what you mean. And you know what I mean? Like that's the same thing they say, you have to be able to appreciate it. And I do, but yeah, you know, I'm still figuring it out. Who knows? Maybe in a year or two, I might begin to get into a real big abstract phase when I'm looking more at them, you know? I do love the Mets abstract section, but yeah. This is cool. I like that. You're not the kind of host that disagrees with me. Like, oh yeah.
No.
You're like, but that's cool.
So what do you feel about the Modern Art Museum? Because you just mentioned the Met.
The MoMA?
Yeah, like you mentioned the Met, but what do you go to the MoMA and
You know,
appreciate that better?
I went to MoMA a lot in high school. And once I go into college is when I started going to the Met more. I kind of switched it. I think in high school, you know, your attention span's a little bit more minimal. And I was like, ooh, colors, big paintings, you know, something different. Everything is a little different there because it's the Museum of Modern Art, right?
Yeah.
When I went to college is when I started taking art history classes and everything. And I was like, oh, wow. Like there's a much more bigger spectrum of work than I originally thought. And that's when I went to the Met. And I love that the Met, every time you go, you will always find something different. MoMA's different too. But I feel like MoMA is a little bit smaller. I'm not trying to shit on MoMA. I love the MoMA.
No, I mean
but you get what I'm saying.
It's a smaller community. I feel. I mean, like
it's like a very small building, and the Met. I love some people that the Met is so big they built over the original Met.
Yeah, because I mean, with the Met, you're talking about the world's art, you know,
right?
And there's more history there because the MoMA, Modern Art. I mean, it's like.
Modern,
it's less years, so it's going to be obviously less art, so it's going to get bigger, but I mean, I would figure that you would spend more time at the MoMA because of like your art styles and everything.
Yeah, you know, I go as much as I can, but I just love the Met. I love the Met. I think it's so important that for any style artist, whether it's abstract, illustration, communication design, that not only do you look at the work from your field, but I think it's so important to look at the work from all different cultures and stuff, you know? Like I mentioned, Renaissance. I would go to the Met Broyer. They have like different architecture and vases, and look at the design on the vases that were hand painted. You know, I grow to appreciate those a little bit more than some of the abstract works. Not that I don't appreciate it, but you know, there's some things that people kind of perfect freehand that looks like it's printed on.
I mean, it's also, you gotta appreciate it for the time that it is, because
back then they didn't have
they
shit.
had nothing. You know?
Yeah,
that was their
insane.
entertainment. Yeah,
I love, like, you know, I nerd out over a lot of dumb shit, but I love nerding out over like little moments of art like that.
Yeah.
Little moments. Even people are gonna totally eat me alive. But who's the artist that does the black, white, red, yellow, and blue squares? You know what I'm talking about? I think he's a French artist, abstract painter.
I'm not really keen on abstract. Yeah,
I apologize for all those art snobs who are listening right now. But if you look, and I remember a teacher showed me this, his squares were all freehand.
right.
And it looks like he used tape or something, but it's freehand. And you got to learn to appreciate, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I want to know,
That's
like,
so hard.
Because listen, I appreciate as much art as possible. Like, I go to the moment and I love the art there too.
Yeah.
But there's certain ones where I'm just like,
Meh.
I don't understand what makes it like
Yeah.
better than anything else. Like, I've seen stuff where it's just like huge canvases with like one line of paint, and that's considered art. I just don't understand where they're coming from in that sense.
Man, I don't agree with it either. And that's why I can't stand some abstract work, because it's so bullshit. It's too bullshit, you know? And I feel like, not that I earned my right to say that, but I've been painting and doing stuff enough to understand that, you know, I don't agree with it. And I feel like, you know, as in my opinion, that's it. You know, nothing really crazy like that. And I tell people, I feel like the only reason why those artists that do, like, you know, the big cans or like the little square and square is because at the time that artist just happened to be doing something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 2018 through 2021 eyes, you're like, what the heck is this? But in the 1930s and 60s, whatever, no one really did. You know what I mean? I try to put myself in the perspective and mindset of, wow, how did it look and how did it come off in that time period?
I just don't imagine, like, because then there's people that also say, oh, the emotions in there, but there's no story behind it, I feel, you know?
I feel like sometimes in art, people always pick so hard to find something with it. It doesn't always have to be.
I mean,
like
yeah,
that.
and I mean, I guess in a way too, it's like it leaves it to the viewer to. They're the ones that bring the emotion to it, because they have, when something's. It's just like in movies. Like, we just watched Halloween, and I was just watching the movies that made us. The Halloween.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, nice.
And the guy was telling I forget his name, I think it's Irvin something. He's the one that like kind of steamrolled the whole movie, like bankrolled it and stuff.
Producing all that. Yeah.
And he was saying that he doesn't want any blood, any gore or anything, but to like just have Michael Myers in the shadows and everything, and just not really show much of the violence or like any gore. Just leave it to interpretation. Just kind of leave it for the viewer to psych themselves out and like get the fear of like the empty space of like those still shots of just like the house where nothing's happening. It's just stillness, and like the outside where it's just greenery but nothing's there.
Right.
And then like Michael just disappears out of nowhere.
Anticipation of something.
Yeah, it's just like the anticipation. So it's just like leaving. So to bring it back to art, it's just kind of leaving that interpretation for the viewer to like put their own story into it. So that's really the only way I could see modern art, like in that sense, where there's not much happening in it, for just like kind of make it an interactive thing for the viewer.
I feel like the big thing, and you could totally correct me, because, you know, there's so much going on in the world. Yeah. And especially here in New York City with art. I feel like the big thing now that I'm seeing, at least, and I totally could be off, it must be maybe something bigger, lesser. I think streetwear is like the biggest thing right now. And most of the images on streetwear is so awful. Or, no, let me take that back. What do you mean? Well, it's very minimal in a way that looks childish. But like that's
like for like clothing right now?
Yeah. Like on hoodies and sweatpants and shit, it's like just line work. And it's just like, you know, silly, happy faces on like a sun. I saw one recently. It was a happy face on a sun, and it's all cricket, and it looked like a child drew it, and it's sold out, and each one's like $60 a pop. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in a weird way, and I'm not saying awful in a bad way. I'm just saying it's awful.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
You're right. Let me stick to my guns, right? Let me not be a hypocrite. I don't like it. I think it's crap. But there's a niche audience for that. You know what I mean? It's sold out for a reason. It could be because of the name brand. It could be because of the design, or both.
Or the story behind it.
Yeah. Or in most cases, it's the name brand, but people don't care enough. They see through the art for the name brand, so they could put anything on. I guess my point I'm trying to make is,
I mean, yeah,
art is going reverse.
Yeah, like it's like Kanye.
Stripping the shit out of it to just have the fucking skeleton underneath it, you know?
Yeah, like I think the brand name or just the person behind the thing is what's selling it. I mean, you could, like I said with Kanye, I mean, a lot of his pieces are very nothing's happening. It's just like minimal, and that's just the century we're in, I guess. Like the couple of years that the era, yeah, like people are just more into less is more kind of thing.
You know what that reminds me of?
What? Those
shitty pieces we talked about, the Momo, that have just the canvas square to square. You know what I mean? So it's like, as much as we may not like or shit on it, we have to respect the fact that, guess what? Those paintings that we don't like are influencing what are the biggest things in music and art now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm always like back and forth. I'm like, gosh, I can't stand it, but it's working. It's working and people like it or something. You know what I mean? There's an obvious influence. And yeah, people, it's just going backwards, art. You know, we went from crazy, colorful, big splash to even that Japanese artist that works with Billie Eilish a lot. People are going to fucking shit on me. I forgot his name.
I don't even know.
He's the guy, he's always smiling with the glasses, and he's got like the puffy hat and shit, the cartoons. It looks like anime stuff, and it looks like cartoons. It's like, we're going back to when we were children, drawing like children, cartoons, like anime and stuff that reminded us of our kids. So it's a very fascinating time right now in art that we're kind of going with the less is more approach. And to an extent, I've seen an illustration. It's becoming more, you know, more the same. Like, less of a background, more of the subject, or vice versa. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. It's really weird right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always changed throughout the years, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's never going to stay the same for too long.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite example of that is just with Picasso. I mean, he started as a realistic painter.
Those self-portraits.
And then within like each decade, every couple of years, it was just like deteriorating. This. I think it was like, he made a bunch of self-portraits, right? And then it just like, you just saw it just deteriorate as
it was a black and gray illustration.
Yeah, as his years went by.
To an abstract surrealism with eyes on the side and everything. Like,
so it's just like in the world right now, it's just that's what's going on, but like at a longer kind of period. Yeah. He just kind of happened within his life much faster.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, so as much as like some people shit on art, and as much as we may not like some art that we're talking about verbally, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, we don't like it, but
we respect it.
We respect it. There's people that like it in their own right, of course. You know, art is subjective.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and people get so gung ho on these things, and I feel like you gotta relax a little bit.
Yeah, there's no right answer as what art is. Yeah. You know,
people get mad at me. It's like, why don't you like it? It's like, I don't need to like or not like anything, and you shouldn't give a shit what I like or think. You know. I don't go and jump down your throat for not liking it. I respect your opinion. That's where it ends. Yeah. You know? Real quick, I want just one thing.
Sure.
Throughout the podcast, I've been doing like a little humming, right? People are probably hearing it like, what the fuck is that, right?
Yeah, so why don't we talk about that?
I don't want to force it, but I'm like, it's bothering me right now, right? Yeah. I have Tourette syndrome, and I've had Tourette's since I was diagnosed at 6, but my mom says I've had it since I was at least 4. It's definitely, I mean, just like Nicky Draven, like myself, right? Evolving. My Tourette's have evolved since I was 6, right? I went through some fucking twitching, really bad twitching, my throat, doing all these things, like my hands, my body shaking. And as I grew older, my Tourette's started shifting to become more this throat one. You know, it's very annoying. People will sometimes look around like, I thought my phone was ringing because it sounds like a vibration, you know? And it's embarrassing. As being officially diagnosed for 20 years with Tourette's, it's still very embarrassing. I guess that adds another piece to the layer as to why I do what I do, because I could twitch. Like right now, I'm twitching like crazy. And as much as it was bothering me just now, before that, I didn't really notice I was twitching on like recording, you know, because I'm just so comfortable right now. And I think it's so important for people who have like these like disabilities or like, you know, these extra things. I have with Tourette's, OCD, ADHD, dyslexia, ADD, narcolepsy. And, you know, I try not to see them as a weakness. I don't. Some people may do, and that's kind of up to whoever has it. People who you shouldn't really judge or answer for someone who has it when you don't have it, you know, which I've had people try to do. It's like, oh, you're just really tired. You know, you're just probably sleeping. It's like, I don't fucking want to sleep. I don't even remember falling asleep, you know? And for those who don't know, narcolepsy is when you just kind of knock out sometimes out of nowhere, or you just fall asleep uncontrollably, you know, and it's very aggravating. And I think that's another reason too I do Nicky Draven, because I could just, not that I'm going to fall asleep, but I could kind of let loose with my disabilities a little bit more without worrying about the backlash and repercussions. It's been a real consistent theme today.
Yeah.
Of shielding myself from repercussions and kind of letting myself be free. Because I think it's important to not hold myself back or hold ourselves back. You know, like in simplest terms, I feel like we shouldn't be scared to be ourselves.
So did that like add to the whole bullying aspect when you were younger?
Oh yeah, kids thought I was the weirdest dude ever. I always loved comic books and some anime and other things, right? Especially when I got older and learned like about Metallica, Nirvana, and all those other bands, Slayer. People in My Chemical Romance, people were like, yo, like, you're a fucking faggot and gay for that. Because only like gay people listen to that shit, and they used to beat me up. And one time a kid punched me in the mouth, which is fucking crazy. He punched me in the mouth, he thought I was gay. And I'm not saying I'm a fucking saint, because I was definitely a piece of shit too in elementary school, because I got bullied so much that when new kids came in, I began bullying them the same way the other kids bullied me, you know? And it wasn't until I kind of went into high schools when I learned I learned from my ways, you know? And just, you know, you're kind of, you know, you're 14, 15, you're really figuring your shit out. And I hope I'm not, you know, like right now I'm like getting over self-conscious in real time, overthinking, which is a horrible problem I have, right? Which then began to develop into like my anxiety and depression in high school, you know, which was always kind of lingering in elementary school from like the bullying and everything, where I was like, I needed this escape. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So you also went to School of Art and Design. Was like Nicky Draven accepted there?
Nicky Draven began to become molded in high school.
Yeah.
I was never bullied in high school. I got in a few little, you know, scuffles here, nothing crazy. The great thing about art and design is everyone there is weird. You know what I mean? So no one's weirder or less weird than the other. Even if they try to act like they aren't, we're all weird. And that's what was great. I got to be partially who I wanted to be without being scared. With the hair, the look, the make, you know, not the makeup, but like the put marker shit in my hands at the time, you know. And I got to just be me, you know. But sometimes outside of school, you're not able to really be who you want to be without feeling any sort of backlash for that and being fearful of what people outside of school would think, you know? And that began to really push Nicky J more, because, not to dive too deep, but when you have someone who co-created you leave your life and abandon you, that fucks you up, you know, especially when you find out when you're 14 that they left. And when you grow older, you learn more about it. It just eats you alive. This person who helped create you left you when you were 3. That does something to you. You know? What do you do with all that anger and frustration and emotions?
Yeah.
Mix that with everything else I mentioned. What do you do? Do you do it? Do you kill yourself? Like I tried a few times? Do you reach out for help like you tried a few times? Or do you just swallow your pride, think of killing yourself, and not actually do it, but let it eat you up inside? Nicky Draven was there to save my life.
Yeah, it was your escape, you said, right?
To escape. Luckily, you know, as much as I'm still an escape, right? I've grown better to communicate and handle those complex feelings more as I got older, but it doesn't mean they aren't still there. The anxiety is always going to be there. The thoughts of depression aren't as bad, but they have my moments where I just want to not kill myself, but I feel like I just want to die. And I feel like it's so important that we openly talk about these things. I feel like right now, not the perfect time, but it's the most accepting time to talk about these things, you know? Man, we're hitting every cylinder today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're really getting me to open up, huh, kiddo?
Yeah. I guess I was just asking more of that question in art and design. Like,
Yeah, sorry about that. I totally got
yeah,
super off
no.
topic.
Just because I wanted to get into then also like your abstract art, and were you also being told how stubborn you were? Like, were you growing in that way there? Like,
Ironically, not too much.
because you were taking fine arts, right? And
No.
what were you? You're
In
doing
art and
graphic
design,
design.
high school, I was a graphic design major.
Okay.
I started off as an illustrator, and my illustration sucked so bad because I never enjoyed drawing realistically, proportionally, at least at the time, right? I was like
Mm-hmm.
15, 16, 17 years old. And I showed this woman in the school my sketchbook, and she goes, "This is pretty much borderline graphic design. Like, I'm gonna put you in there, and if you don't like it, come back to me in a week." I said, "Sure." I loved it. Long story short, I did graphic design for 7 years, but in high school of art and design, in graphic design, my teacher, Mr. Benchko, was an abstract artist too. So he and I really understood a lot of the same things in the way I was trying to create my designs. Looking back at it, my designs were incredibly abstract, and I just didn't really realize it because I was kind of just honing in on this graphic design world, you know? Going to the school before FIT, I also continued communication design, but really kind of learned a lot there. As much as I was unhappy that I didn't get into FIT my first try, the school fucking sucks. I'm doing a style of work that I'm kind of growing a little impatient with. I learned to not only appreciate when I got into FIT, but that I was an abstract painter. You know, as much as I always painted, I really realized I loved painting. I love communication, but I loved painting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful that I was able to be really free in my graphic work in high school, right? Because not only was I being free with and experimenting, but I was creating work in a really unorthodox way most of the time. If you look back at it, it's kind of crazy. Then I learned to do it kind of the proper way in college, and I realized this really wasn't for me as much as I thought. Then when I got into FIT and fine arts, that's when I got into fine arts, is when I was really formally trained in painting more. You know, I learned how to use oil. I learned how to use the mediums. I began experimenting, and that's when Nicky Draven started growing more. Because now I'm looking at art in a whole different cylinder, all cylinders, you know? And just one instead of this way, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna be like this
Tunnel vision.
like this different alternate ego. What if the alter ego also went through his own feelings and phases at the same time as Nico? As meta and complex as that sounds, in my head it makes sense, but for some people it's really hard to kind of wrap their head around it because it's more of a me thing in my head thing, you know? Yeah, it's really weird. And I'm not gonna act like it isn't weird. This whole fucking thing is weird. But I love it. It makes me feel so much better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to understand more of like that field. I mean, personally, I'm glad I picked illustration over fine arts.
So did I. Shit, we never would have met that was the case.
Yeah. Because I think with fine arts, it's just a lot is riding on who you are, you know?
Yeah.
At least with illustration, you got, you know, the commercial work, you have a goal, you have briefs and everything. But with fine arts, you really have to rely on your mind and your creativity to kind of not well. Obviously, with illustration, you need creativity to execute all these pieces and illustrations. But with fine arts, it's more you're free to do what you want.
To an extent. Well, sometimes they would throw as prompts, right? They say you can do whatever you want, but here's the prompt, right? It's like, you know, draw a self-portrait. Do your self-portrait, but do it however you want. Well, now you're given two things. You're given free game, right? But then you also got to do free game doing a self-portrait. So what do you do? Do you do self-portrait black and gray? Do you do self-portrait collage? You know? That, you know, the first 2 years of FIT was very like that. Like, you got to draw black and gray. Here's a prompt, but here's black and gray, right? Junior, senior year was more open, more abstract. You kind of do whatever the fuck you want. But, oh yeah, I like that. You do whatever the more you want. But then it's like, well, what's good enough to be used? I had one specific painting class where essentially I could paint whatever I want, right? I'm like, yes, right? This is all me. I've been training my whole life for this, right? That's what I thought at the time. When I got there and sat there, I was like, oh shit, what am I going to paint? You have too much free reign, right? But this is a test. How much do you believe in yourself as an artist to just paint whatever you like and know it's good, right? Does that make sense? Like, I hope that it's clear for those who don't understand. Imagine having to paint something with 100% freedom and control, right? But if you fuck it up and if it's not good, who's to blame? You. And I remember I had a professor say that, where I was like, is this good enough? Like, am I going the right direction? He goes, I don't know. You tell me. You're the artist. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I am the artist. And that's where you kind of grow. There's a moment of growing. I'm like, well, I got to really kind of, get a real grip of this and really understand my work and be confident in the work so people who see it don't question it. The moment that you question it or you're not that confident, everyone's going to notice. And that's when the ball drops and that's it. You know what I mean? That's when you go back to the drawing board. And not that's a bad thing. You always got to learn from it because there's a few shows of things where I'm like, I don't know about this. And people noticed.
I mean, it's normal for every artist too. It just kind of goes with the whole imposter syndrome where it's just like you don't really.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, like you don't really
you asked me the same question to Nico. And he said no. But then I'm over here saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know.
You're doing all these pieces, you're putting it out there, but then you feel like, I don't know, this is not finished. This isn't good enough. This is not good enough. Yeah. I shouldn't be putting this out there. Who am I?
Man, the feeling specifically of I really shouldn't put this out there is the worst feeling because you feel like such a fraud. You're given this opportunity to be part of this show at this gallery with all these other artists, right? And you look at the work and you see your work there and you're like, man, like I'm totally taking somebody else's spot right now.
Yeah.
And people come out to support you and they're like, this is great. This is amazing. Let's take a picture, blah, blah, blah. But deep down inside, this is like, this shit ain't tight. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's like, you got to learn how to just be on your A game. And if you're not on your A game, work on it. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of your best work was when you were working with Henrietta.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like she embraced your persona on like the way you created work, and I mean you guys did amazing stuff together. I mean the whole shoebox performance was amazing.
Thank you.
It was a great turnout with the film and all that. So what did she do kind of to like help you out with Nicky Draven?
So for those who don't know who Henrietta is, Henrietta Mantooth is my 96-year-old mentor, who's been my mentor for about 5 years. I met her when she was 91 and she's incredible. She works and does better work. Oh, let me take that back. She works and does the best that she can be as an artist more than most people our age who have more time than she does. And not like because of her age, but more time, like, she's still got shit to do.
Yeah, but they also don't have the experience that she does. I mean, she's been around for almost...
I guess my point is she could barely move, and she's 96, and she still forces herself to work because she...
Okay.
It's very inspiring. That's what I'm trying to get, and I learned a lot from her. When we've done a few collaboration pieces, including our shoebox performance, where I made that directorial debut and filmed it and edited it into a documentary. With every project, she let me be me. There was no holding me back, and she would embrace it and accommodate things that maybe she didn't agree on, but she would switch it up just enough to say, this is my part, that's your part. You know what I mean? We're doing a piece on the same canvas. I'll do 3 black squares, 1 yellow square. She may not like the 1 yellow square, but she'll work around it to make the yellow square work on the piece and work with something that she adds to it, That's why it works well with Henrietta, and that's why as a mentor apprentice, even though she calls me her mentor, and I'm kind of beginning to notice why. And I thought she did it to be cute, but it's, as a mentor, someone you learn from, right? Whether it's in art, music, anything, right? As much as I learn from her, she does learn a lot from me, and we learn from each other. So it's grown more of a mentor protege to a mentor, which is really interesting. I'm not sure if that's even like a thing or if many people do that, but we push each other and learn from each other and do everything we can to really be the best we could be and like create the best work we could. And at 96 and 26, we plan to continue working together as soon as when she turns 97, I turn 27. Yeah.
She also had an event. I remember where we was at her studio where we had
Oh
gone.
wow, yeah. That was a while ago.
Yeah, we were still in college, and I thought it was interesting. And I see the mask here that you actually wore. I think.
Yeah, there's the mask.
Yeah. You spoke in front of, was it her colleagues?
So the opportunity she was given was to take this art director's loft studio, right,
Okay.
by SVA, and we were able. It's really fast. It's a really unique experience. I've never really seen anything like it before. But he let her, and other artists too, done it before, put their work up in his studio and have like an opening night and closing ceremony in his apartment. Like the dude lives there and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really weird. And she had this piece. It was like a roll of canvas that went from the ceiling to the floor, and people go on it and just talk. And she wanted me to talk about my biological dad and about my mental health. Right? She's like, you don't have to if you don't want to. And I said the only way I can do it is if I become me, Nicky Draven, for just the duration that I talk, right? It's just enough for me to really let myself go through. So instead of doing the face paint and everything, I simply made a mask of what his face looked like, right? Put the mask on, and I was able to just open up in a way that I wouldn't be able to open up without the mask. I talked about my suicide attempt, my mental health, and stuff that were really personal that caused a lot of pain and sadness in my life to myself more than anything. And I mean, it's great that you mentioned that, because it was a real moment where the piece was incredibly utilized for its purpose of having people talk, while also embracing. It's the same thing with her, embracing who I wanted to be and who I was, which was Nicky Draven, right? Even if it was just a mask, to just talk to this crowd of people, and she was just so happy, and proud, and not to toot my own horn, like I don't want to make it sound like that, but she's like, "Oh, you're so brave for that. Like, I appreciate you doing that for me." Just giving me the opportunity as much as I gave her the opportunity.
How'd that feel when you were doing
weird.
that in front of like randoms?
Man, it was weird because that was like at night, so I still had school that day. I still had work, and I had this mask in my bag, and the whole day I'm like, man, I'm really fucking nervous. Like I'm like, this is deep.
Yeah,
this is like deep shit.
That's one of the first real times that you're actually like explaining your emotions and what you've gone through to get where you are with Nicky Draven. So
I still have my walls up, like most people do sometimes, but for some reason that mask and the people there and the atmosphere and the piece itself, it felt very, oh man, I don't know how to describe it, rejuvenating. It felt good to kind of let it out, At the time specifically, it was really eating me up inside. Like, man, I feel these really awful emotions right now, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's good to talk about these things. And the crowd was not the crowd. There's a good people, a good amount of people who were there to support not just Henrietta but me. The moment I knew that these people wouldn't attack me or give me any sort of repercussion or backlash was when they started hugging me. Strangers hugging me, telling me how brave and how proud they are of me for not doing suicide.
Yeah.
I don't really talk about my suicide attempts often, and not like it's crazy, nothing too extreme, nothing to call it 911 and tell anybody about, but you have those moments where you feel like you're falling down like this tunnel and everything around you turns black and the light is above and you're crying, you're sitting there, and the only thing that makes sense right now is to kind of just off yourself, right? That's when you kind of have, I mean, look, at least for me, I had the willpower enough to reach out to you guys, you and the other ones, and my ex, and straight up, not sugarcoating shit, but straight up, I said, I feel like I want to fucking kill myself right now. I know we're really diving deep off of that, but I was feeling those kind of emotions. And then just having people hug me was just the love and acceptance I guess I was looking for, right? And having her and everyone to say how much they love me reminded me as to why I got to stay strong, Yeah. And like, if I kill myself, I know I would be not ruining lives, but leaving an incredible gap of friendships, love, companionships. I hope it doesn't sound weird that I'm like
No, I
making
mean,
this impact on people, but it's important to
no, it's
know
a great example
of
for
like,
anybody that's going through the same thing that you
yeah,
went through. It's
for
just,
anyone listening, right? Anyone listening, depression, anxiety, right? Anything like that, that you feel like you have no sense in the world, that you really kind of just over it, right? Please, please do not be afraid to reach out to your friends
yeah, I mean,
or your family. If your friends, maybe you're scared to tell your friends, you tell your family. If you're too scared to tell your family, you tell your friends. There's people there. I'm there, right? Nicky Draven on Instagram. Please, anybody looking for help, please. If I'm still here with the great support system, I want you here with a better support system. You know what I mean? And in 2021, it is the best time right now to have communication about mental health, you know? Because man, if I didn't reach out to you guys, I really don't know.
yeah,
I
and
really don't
that's
know.
what's
Because
important. I
that
mean,
was the closest to like I'm gonna fucking do it I ever been in my life.
because when you got, I mean, from what I've been told, is when someone's going through that, they just feel
Hopeless.
hopeless and that nobody wants them there.
Gosh, it's the weirdest feeling. I guess
Yeah.
I guess it's important to talk about it too. But when at least for me, at the time, I had this amazing relationship. My grandma was still alive. I had you guys. School was great. Everything was great. I had no reason to be depressed, right? Which is often the case.
Yeah.
You can't be depressed. You have no reason. You don't have to have a reason. That's why
Yeah.
it's depression, right? I was just sobbing on the couch, sobbing, crying, right? Trying to remind myself, I have these things right here. I should not be crying, but I was so fucked up that I remember looking at tubes of paint that I knew if I ate them would kill me. If I took the hair dryer in my bathroom, went to the shower, I knew it would kill me. Hanging myself, right? That's what I do when I hear about my idols and musicians hanging themselves and stuff. It's just like heartbreaking because you could relate to a little minor exception, extent is that's what I'm looking for. And, even as 9 years old, I had suicide thoughts where I tried to drown myself and shit. I guess that's why I'm always trying to make people laugh, because it brings me joy to see you guys and everyone else laughing and smiling, almost kind of making myself feel like I'm doing this weird job of making you people laugh. And it all just kind of goes right back to this, right? Nicky Draven is like this strong person, right? This strong person with ambition and, charisma who has nothing to be sad about, And I hope it doesn't come off weird that, oh, he uses Nicky Draven as his really big escape. But, if I'm being totally transparent, it is just a big escape to be somebody else. And I'm wacky and I'm fun. And, man, I feel like we're bouncing all over the place.
I mean, it's fine. It's a conversation.
But that's just how my head works, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think everyone has it in them. It depends just, if you embrace it or not. And I have so much more plans moving forward with Nicky Draven. And it reflects how I feel, right? Life is crazy. Life has its ups and downs. I went through some up and downs this year. And I think the mask is a reflection of that, where I feel like, for a period of time, I was in I feel like a shell of myself. And I feel like a mask is like a shell over my face, right? And I want to cover my face in the shell. But maybe that might change in a few years. Maybe in a few months when things change, maybe that will reflect it too. Maybe I will go back to the face paint. Maybe I'll strip down the mask. Maybe it would just be part of the mask, right? Wow, I have these moments where I talk so much, right? And I'm like really self-aware that I'm like going all over the place. But when I stop and catch up to myself is when I'm like, wow, we really just like a pinball hitting all these different subjects. People listening, I hope you're like, you don't mind it too much. But I guess that's like another issue I have is like my overthinking, right? People may not mind. You're probably like, dude, you're fine. But in my head, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I hope like no one's getting frustrated at me. And I guess it just shows that I'm still, figuring it out. And you and everyone else at home are seeing it in real time. But I'm not embarrassed or ashamed as much as I used to be. It's just something I got to work on. That's all. Yeah. I just want to be the inspiration and hero I wish I had growing up. You know, That's okay to be different. You don't have to be gay or girly to do your nails or do your makeup. You can still be a heterosexual, you know, it's not, you know, it's really not that serious. You could wear a skirt and not be gay. You can do these things without being bullied or attacked. There's such a strong community for these things, and I think it's amazing, you know. I still have moments where I'm hesitant to do anything because I'm scared that outside of school or out, you know what I mean, as an example, that may not accept me, that I hold myself back. But you know, yeah, I hope I'm not going too much on a tangent.
No.
Boom, I'm doing it again. Let's go.
So there was a point that you were talking about, like your mask and your face paint. You were mentioning before too that you are eventually going to phase it into just mask only.
Mhm.
And you're kind of in that transition period now where you're wearing this mask, but
This
you
is the
still
first
have
time.
they're wearing this half mask, but you also still have the face paint. Why are you switching over to that, to fully a mask only?
I feel like I need to shield myself a little bit. You know, I feel like
So what was the purpose of the face paint then?
to hide myself. I
What-
was hiding myself, and I'm shielding myself. I hid myself because I didn't want to be me for those few hours that I had the face paint on.
Okay.
Now, I feel like, you know, some people will try to take advantage of you and try to stop you and bring you down, right? And luckily, I had a great support system of people, and y'all know who you are. I love you. Thank you. That lifted me from a specific situation. And right now, I'm kind of in the process of rebuilding myself, you know, kind of focusing on me, my friends and family, making sure everyone is happy and healthy, myself as well, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. If I say physically. And I just need to shield myself for a little while. You know, I'll still be there, but I just gotta, you know, put a shield up. That's all. Like a little protective barrier between myself and people who are trying to hurt me or attack me. And so right now, this mask will, within a few months or so, will slowly transform into something that covers up my entire face. But I'll still be there. I'll just be a little, you know, protected. That's all. Yeah. People will try to hurt you who you may never think would do anything like that in ways that you never thought would be possible, right? You learn from those people and things to better yourself for the future and never to make the same mistake or follow your specific judgment, you know? And right now, the mask coming up is just a protective layer for now. And I hope it eventually does go away. But if it stays, it's a creative decision, if anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And I plan on making it a neutral white because I'm not good or bad. I'm neutral. I'm figuring
I mean,
shit
what was
out.
the decision on just white and black?
The white and black and the skeleton, I always said, was our true face, and underneath the blood and flesh and everything and fat and muscle is a skeleton. All right. I'd paint my face in the specific different skeletal ways depending on the style, work, or whatever I'm feeling at the time. Because that's like showing our true face, right? We're not being fake. We're not hiding nothing. This is who I really am. We're just skeletons. Think about it. Really get really weird and meta. We're just skeletons. You know, we just happen to have a brain and a heart to make these decisions, right? So I would do the skeleton, but then after going through some bullshit sometimes, and you know, life, it happens. I'm not trying to be like boo-hoo me, you know, nothing like that at all. It's just life. Life those curveballs at you. Your job is to learn to adapt and go with it to learn from it, right? I want to go from black and white because I'm, you know, I see things in black and white, right? That's that's the wrong way, right? Black and white is the wrong way. Seeing things in color, I don't know.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're seeing things in a binary way where it's like it's either right or wrong, but there's also gray areas,
Which is why.
which is where you don't know. You could be doing the right thing, but
You could
doing
be,
it in the wrong way
yeah,
to get the right result.
yeah,
So there's gray areas in life. So
yeah. So I guess I'm
are
kind
you
of.
saying that you're only looking at the world as right or wrong?
It didn't come out right. Nothing like that at all. 'Cause I'm always making sure I see both sides of arguments, different point of views, different
Yeah.
perspectives. Even like I said with the painting earlier, where I was like, I put myself in the mindset of those in like the 1960s or 30s, looking at something like that. You know, like maybe they'll blow them away, right? I didn't mean it like that, black and white, but black and white, because it's simple colors, doesn't distract from anything, right? With my colorful outfits and my colorful paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna go with just a base white, and whatever paint that lands on it or anything like that, if I ever paint with it on, it's gonna stay there. Kind of like passport collecting these things along my way, where I
Mm-hmm.
could say that blue is from that painting, or I was working on this with that, blah blah blah. And yeah, so I guess not necessarily looking at things in the gray area, but looking at things white, where I'm like, I'm just there, and I don't want anyone to know what emotions I'm feeling. I just want to be there. If you talk to me, maybe you'll be able to understand how I feel, but the mask won't give you any perception. It's just a neutral mask. When you see it, you'll know. It's unlike anything I've created before in terms of my identity and showing my face.
Mm.
Yeah. Big inspiration from Slipknot, which I mentioned before, but like, you know, even like Halloween, like I think Halloween's my favorite horror franchise, my favorite horror movie, and we get so much out of Michael Myers. It's just black, out of just his white mask, you know.
It's also the expression on it too.
Yeah, and the way he tilts his head, it's just little things like that. And I love Daft Punk, and I just love artists and people who cover the face. For some reason, I've always been really gravitated towards it. I don't know why.
I guess because in that sense, you're focused on the art, not the person.
Yeah. And I should have mentioned that earlier, but Nicky Draven is a way for me to separate my personal life and my professional life.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm out doing art things, I'm Nicky Draven, but you know, when I'm home and doing my job, I'm Nico Lowry. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
Right now I'm Nicky Draven, but after this, I may just go back to Nico Lowry. Who knows? Depends on what the agenda is, but yeah, that's where the mask is heading. I need to protect myself, and I'm in a neutral zone where I'm just kind of being there without giving any preconceived notion or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. People always ask me, why do you do this? Why do you do all that? And I just want to have this time around to be like, this is why. I deal with a lot of mental health issues that I'm working on. I deal with a lot of disabilities and I don't know, like neurological disorders, which is Tourette's. And as shitty as all of them can be, I really, really try not to make it that. I try to treat everyone with just love and respect, because as corny as it sounds, I really do try to treat people with how I want to be treated. You know, I love for someone to make me laugh. I love that. I love when people try to be there for me and listen to me. So I always try to be there to listen to them. And that's what I plan on doing too. And, you know, I know we talked about everything but my work. We talked about my work a little bit, you know. Moving forward, I just want to move my work forward towards forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving forward with my work in a way that lets people think, but at the same time, I want to just have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, the black line work on top, the simple, is kind of reflecting the streetwear and like how things get bare bones, but at the same time, underneath the colorful expressionist work with all the brushes and the fucking hand movements and punching and everything, you know, that's me honoring my roots and my idols. So I'm kind of taking this weird modern look at things and the weird old school looking of ways and just kind of meshing it together. And a big thing I'm trying to work on right now, I'm really pushing and I'm really reaching out to artists and not artists, galleries and organizations for a solo show. I feel really confident that my work is strong enough to hold up a gallery show. And I feel like my support system is big enough that I could fill it out. For sure, you know? And I guess maybe I won't be able to say this if I was Nico Lowry, but as Nicky Draven, I'm very confident that I will and can make a dent in this art scene, whether it's New York City or elsewhere, you know? And not because of glory. I really want to like have a platform to help people more than anything, you know? The stronger the power you have, the more people you can reach. The more people you reach, the more people you can help.
So what kind of things have you done to help people?
Man, I try to make work that I have silent bids and donate 100% to organizations, you know? I try to make merch that I sell and donate a hefty percentage, because, you know, it doesn't take me a lot to make, but I'll sell them for a specific price and donate it to a relief fund or anything, you know? I made the bootleg Star Wars shirts, the Star Bay. I sold a few of them and donated about 100%, yeah, to the Australian Wildfire Fund. last year after the George Floyd protests and Black Lives Matter. I made a painting that I was able to have a silent bid, highest bidder, 100%. They came here too to get the painting, and then we together went online and submitted the 100% donation. So I want to do more. I want to do more stuff like that to help more people. And I want to be able to do bigger things to help people like myself and other people who need it, you know? I see people with big platforms that it drives me crazy that I'm like, how are you not helping people with this right now? You know? Nothing crazy like that. Just people who know people, you know? If I was like that, I'm like, man, I would do everything I can to help people. You know? Obviously still continue being an artist and doing what I got to do, but you know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I keep doubting not that I'm doubting myself. I hope it doesn't sound like that when I say, does that make sense? Because sometimes my mind wanders and I have so much in my head that when I talk, I hope it just comes off clear and, you know, in a way that people can understand. Yeah. You know, even like the shoebox, that was all about people who are locked up in incarceration, you know, solitary confinement and all that, you know.
So what was the purpose of that?
That was a mutual decision between Henrietta and I to create a performance piece of, I feel like we talked about it too last time, but we'll get more in depth because a lot's happened since. Wait a sec.
Because you guys didn't make money off of it. It was more of just like a performance thing.
Yeah, we made zip shit off of it. You know, it wasn't for money. It's never for the money. You know, it's for helping people. We brought awareness to people who saw the film. Multiple sold out screenings, right? We brought awareness to people who didn't know the horrible living conditions and the ways of living in life in incarceration. You know, they treat them like fucking animals. And just because they're inmate doesn't mean they're fucking animals. They're so human, you know, and people don't know that. So we decided to make a shoebox, was what we called it, which was like, you know, people in jail called solitary the shoe. For like slang, right? So I called it the shoebox. A little box, really narrow, where I dressed up as an inmate in another mask to become the prisoner, I called it, right? And I was in the box for one day for 8 hours and the next day 7.5 hours, filmed the entire thing. And we made a documentary where we talked about it. And we met people on the street who had family or friends that were incarcerated telling us, you know, what you're doing is amazing right now. Like my brother got arrested. He had to go in there. He never came back the same. Another person came who talked to us, said, this person I know, this happened to them, and now they killed themselves. You know? So, yeah, I just want to help people. I want to bring awareness to these things. I just think it's so important, you know? This is a crazy example, and not that I want anything like this, but I read this article about billionaires who became millionaires and millionaires who lost their title as millionaires because they donated so much to like helping people or like funds, you know, stuff like that. Organizations, wildlife, fire, you know, helping people eat, you know, Children for America and stuff like that. And I'm like, I want that without the money. You know what I mean? Without the money part.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want to do as much as I can to give myself for people and things. And there have been people who just try to bring me down and try to like say these crazy things about me. But at the end of the day, people who know me, right, know that I would do anything for anybody given the chance. And I hope in my career journey, in my art journey, that a gallery or somebody or something will see what I can do and give me the opportunity to reach a bigger masses and help more people like myself, or even like animals and stuff like that. Fires, Black Lives Matter, Asian hate, everything, you know? I just strong LGBTQ rights. I'm so passionate about all those things, man.
Yeah.
Because I get it. We as humans have to love each other, if not at least respect each other, and not have so much anger and hatred. For what? What does that do for anybody? Nothing. I can't think of one positive thing coming out of hating another group of people.
Well, in the media, that's their bread and butter. That's how they make their money.
Yeah. Well,
inciting violence. And
if you consider media making money off of it as a good thing, then
what do you mean?
Well, you know, not saying you, I'm talking in general. People like, oh, well, you know, media, that's like their shit, right? That's like their thing.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, but some people do see it like that as a good thing. And, you know, I may not agree, but at the same time, it goes back to I gotta respect your opinion. If you don't respect mine, that's on you. At the end of the day, you're the one screaming and yelling, and I'm just kind of like, chill out. It is not that serious. Relax. Yeah.
We got into the deep end here.
We got to the deep end, man. We could have some fun now.
Yeah.
Sheesh. I mean, I love music more than anything.
Yeah,
I feel like we never really talk about music too much. We talk about video games and art and all that. Real quick, speaking of music, in the beginning of the year, in your episode 1, I mentioned, the Future's Bulletproof EP, right?
Right.
Things happen in life. Some things got a little derailed. Some things got pushed. It is no longer coming out in 2021. I plan to record some sort of song in 2021. But in 22, I really, really want to push for a full EP album with a performance and everything, where I get a space in a band or whatever and I perform these songs. I mean, I had this like crazy idea. I don't think I told you. I mean, I told you. I want to write like a weird musical concert thing of a mix of originals and covers to this narrative about my mental health and stuff and how I feel about things, where it'd be mixed spoken word, but it'd really be more like spoken word that would go right into a song that adds to this narrative. And, you know, after the pandemic and this year kind of being the full kind of normalish year we've had in quite some time, that's still very abnormal. I want to write this musical called Remember My Name, because if God forbid something ever does happen or anything like that, all I want is for people to remember my name. And that's something I'm really pushing for right now in 2022, is the Remember My Name performance piece. And I'd love to direct another film, where I'm working on right now. I'm kind of working on the script for a short black and white film. That's all I'm going to say. It's been a passion project of mine since high school. Another one, it totally evolved from like one thing in high school to like a totally different thing now, based on just like my life experiences, right? And then continue just having gallery shows. Having a solo show would be an honor.
Yeah.
You know? And right now a big thing is just music. I love music. Not that it's a big thing now. It's always been music. I mean, I get a lot of people get mad at me sometimes. People get so mad sometimes.
Why?
Because I always say, and I'm very open, that if I had to have one or the other, I always pick music over art. Because without the music, I would have no art.
Why?
A lot of my pieces are inspired by just lyrics, you know, and I love taking lyrics and kind of creating a visual, right? I try to avoid music videos because sometimes it's always going to like kind of think of that. And I love like just listening to full albums. Like I was on a date once and the girl's like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, don't hate me, but I love listening to music. And she goes, that's really whack. I'm like, check it out. People don't listen to full albums anymore though. You know what I mean? I genuinely mark it in my calendar. I get very excited when an artist I like drops a full record. My whole day is surrounded by listening to a full album from start to finish. Not just the singles. I'm talking about the deep cuts, the B cuts, the rough cuts. I love that shit, you know? And I get so interested in like the music and the performance. And I love Tyler, the Creator. Yeah. He's another one who's evolving, you know? Through every record cycle, he evolves. I loved Call Me If You Get Lost. But man, I loved Igor. Because that was his alter ego. And he said it multiple times where he could not believe the album blew up the way it did, because he didn't think people would accept him doing this weird performance thing the way they did. And I think that's just a perfect example of not giving a shit what people think, doing what you like. And if they like it, they like it. They don't. Yeah. In this case, they loved it. And yeah, that's just being authentic, bro. You know what I mean? And such a great record. And yeah, I love just listening to music. And every time I paint in my studio, I always have something on, you know, something. Once in a while I have a podcast, but it's really hard to paint with a podcast, at least for me. Because there's no visual, it's just people talking.
No, I mean,
well, besides the stories.
Yeah, like story-wise, I love comedy podcasts and everything. That's always funny.
I'm very excited.
And that keeps the mood light while you're working.
Tom.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. We're seeing Tom Segura next year. And I'm just really excited. I'm really excited because we've been listening to this guy for about a year or two now.
I think I've been
you've been on it for a while. Yeah. I've been on it for like a year and a half or so. YMH, Two Bears. I love the YMH lives, right? It totally went from music to like this disgusting live special.
I mean, but
and it's gonna be so cool to see him live.
It's all intertwined in entertainment.
And it just adds to just enjoying yourself. Do what you love, man. We just happen to love watching YMH live, where they show disgusting videos.
All right. Well, yeah.
But
It's called the heavy segment. You get
get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just do what you love with your friends, man. We love to do that.
Yeah, man.
We also love to go to the movies still. Thank God we're all vaxxed. Respect if you don't want to get vaxxed. We're not getting into that. But we get to go to the movies still and enjoy. We saw Halloween Kills, Venom, Shang-Chi. Like, we're enjoying ourselves, you know? It's cool to just be with you guys again and like fucking hang out and do these things without. Well, you gotta be safe about it with COVID, but for the most part, we're pretty on top of these things. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, it's cool that you're doing this because a lot of people will talk and talk and talk. I want to make a podcast. I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up this kind of shop. I'm going to make a brand. Nobody sticks to shit. No one does anything. You may do the podcast for a short amount of time and end it. These are people who never even started, you know? And those are that's a whole other topic conversation. The doers and the what do you call it? The doers?
And the
doers. Yeah, man. Shit. We know so many people who are like, I'm gonna do this, this, and that in art. And this and sometimes, man, you could just tell they just are not. They're not. And it goes back, and I hope it doesn't sound pretentious, but it really is an experience thing. At least for me, I've been doing art for like 12 years. I've been grateful enough to have 12 years in a row, at least one gallery show a year. A year. I'm actually on the verge of losing that streak in the next 2 months unless I squeeze out a show soon. I really don't count the movie. That's a whole separate thing. Yeah. But man, it's just like surround yourself with people who will bring the best out of you. Yeah. It's okay to have friends who may not. Like I have a few friends who are very much like non-doers who talk a lot, but it's important to still be involved with people who are doing things because you'll push and inspire each other. Like when you've been doing a podcast almost a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's amazing. Like something that started off as an idea of like, I kind of do a podcast. A year later, you're like fucking doing it still. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Weekly, bi-weekly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bi-weekly now. I started weekly, but you know, when you're doing a podcast with guests, it gets very complicated trying to like match schedules and all that. So with the bi-weekly, it's made it a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean,
that's crazy. Congrats, man.
Thank you, dude. I thought of this podcast. I think it was around this time, November and December. Started it in January, so we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary.
You have any ideas for like a 1 year celebration thing?
I have no idea, dude. I mean,
I didn't even realize.
I'm thinking of maybe doing another commercial for it or something.
Oh yeah. It's really like a highlight reel of like just crazy shit, or just like
to promote it,
a montage, just different different moments. Because you've interviewed a lot of people in all kinds of ways.
Yeah. So it's like, and they're all from different professions.
Yeah, and, I think it's great. Which I think is awesome. Yeah, people get to see like the different point of views of making it.
I didn't want to solely like do just one profession because we're in such a creative field and then now with the internet, you could like make a career out of any field.
It's a trip right now.
The creative field is so broad, dude.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where art goes and where you could go with podcast and art. Even if like let's say you pull the plug on a podcast after a year.
Yeah.
You fucking did it for a year. And even if it didn't reach a year, you still did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man. Yeah, I wish people weren't non-doers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
And some people, sometimes it's out of their control. Like, I'm not
it's out of their
unsympathetic control. And all that. I get it. But, how to explain it? Like,
some things happen, but like, there's those that say that they're going to do something and then just find excuses not to.
Yeah,
they're going.
Oh god, one of the excuses drive me crazy.
I think where it comes down to something like that, it's just they're saying when they say that they're gonna do something, they're just looking for the glory of someone saying like, "Oh yeah, dude, that's great." They're looking for the positive feedback, but without actually committing to it.
Man,
they got their fix of like, hey, someone knows someone acknowledged that I'm doing this and thinks that I could do it.
It bums me out so hard.
Yeah.
And seeing people who I know have the potential to be like not the biggest thing in art, but could do something with their work.
Mm-hmm.
Just totally wasting time or squandering opportunities.
Yeah.
And I guess my point I'm trying to make is if you're really passionate about something, fucking do it. Don't stop until it happens. Right now,
Okay.
I'm gung-ho on just doing something with my work or Nicky Draven, you know? I want to do what I said. I want to help people. I want to put my work out there.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I got to do to get to where I want to be, you know? And you got to, I think it's so important to surround yourself with people with the same mindset because you're all, like I said, lifting each other up. We're lifting each other up, you know, with the rest of the guys and the gals doing it, you know, in our respective groups as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you may not be able to do it, that's okay. But if you feel passionate enough, walk the walk, you know?
Yeah, for
More
sure.
than anything. I hope that I know it sounds a little mean and stuff, and it could be perceived as mean, but it's just tough love because I wouldn't be where I am today for my mentors. You know, let me give a quick shout. You know, Jose, Henrietta, Robert, Benchko, you know, Saul to an extent. You know, y'all know who you are. They all give me and all my art teachers in between. The one like Joffrey, if you're watching, which I so doubt, when you said to me, "My shit ain't tight," and you made me work for another 3 hours. I never forgot that. And it's my work. I always remind myself, is my shit tight? You know what I mean? So I grab every little thing I can from all my mentors and teachers, you know? And they gave me tough love because they knew I can do it. I give tough love because I know you or whoever can do it. You know, I try not to be mean, but at the same time, we grow from just being honest. We can't kiss each other's ass. And that's why our group works so well because we're honest with each other. If we see something that we know we could fix or edit or make better, we tell each other. We don't kiss ass and say, yeah, that's great, put it out there, knowing it could be pushed. And it doesn't come from a place like a malicious place. It all comes from love. At the end of the day, it all comes from love and wanting the best out of each other. My teachers never wanted to be mean to me. They didn't want to shit on me. They knew I can do it. So I try to do the same thing with everybody else. And people tell me, hey, I think you're being mean. I say I'm being honest, but that's just two different point of views. And I respect if you think I'm mean. I try not to. But like I said, if I see you squandering, wasting time, I might just tell you. So you could like get out of it and like cut the shit and get it done. Time is of the essence, man. I mean, if we're not doing anything, we're being washed by the wayside. And you know, like I said, you know, we're taking the time right now to do this podcast to, you know, put myself out there, do your podcast, put your stuff out there, you know, and then when we release it, you know, fucking put it out there and like promote it and everything. And just, you know, at the end of the day, we're just putting it out there and doing what we got to do. That's it. Yeah.
I think that's a great end to this podcast.
I think so, man.
Yeah. Is there anything else that they would need to know before I cut this off?
For anyone who ever tried to bring me down, right, stop me, try to put me halting my tracks, I am never going anywhere. And no one is ever going to stop me from getting to where I want to be and doing what I want to do in this world and in art. All right. I want to say thank you to everyone who have been there for me. You guys, my family, my friends, my mentors, my proteges. Without your support, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think it's so important for us to acknowledge those who are there more than who aren't. Never forget where you came from. Never forget who you are. And with no risk, there's no reward. I love you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Anytime, dude.
Let me get a woo, baby. Let me get a two sweet.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're good. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Till next time.